Okay, so we are supposed to start this new concept called a probable error. We have learned Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. This probable error is an addition tool which will help us to understand whatever number we have got as the coefficient, is it correct or not, or which are the other ways we can use that r or the coefficient for further calculations. So probable error is a statistical tool which is used to measure the reliability of the value of Pearson's correlation. So we find R value, that is the correlation coefficient value, but we also do conclusion based on the R value. Now, how will we know if that conclusion is correct or not? That can be understood by calculating probable error. Okay. So this will help us to understand the reliability of Pearson's correlation coefficient insofar as it depends upon conditions of random sampling, which means we are going to randomly take a sample from the data given to us. Okay, let's say for example, they have given us the age and the height. So we are going to randomly take a different sample from the data, and we will calculate this probable error, okay, and see the difference later. So let's see a few definitions before we get into the technicalities of probable error and the problems. So according to Horace Sechrist, the probable error of R is the correlation coefficient, is an amount which, if added to and subtracted from, so while reading this you will have to carefully read them. So it says the probable error of R, okay, R value we will calculate first, then we will be calculating probable error. So this probable error is an amount which, if you add them to R or if you subtract them from R, okay, whichever you do, you add it to R or you subtract from R, okay, what does it gonna give is the average correlation coefficient produces amounts within which the chances are even that a coefficient of correlation from a series selected at random will fall. So we'll understand this using a small example. Now let's say, for example, we have got a value of R. Okay, let us say the value of R is 0.5. Okay, 0.5 is the value of R. So what happens for this R value, I will calculate using the data given to me in the problem. Okay, now apart from this data, I will again take a sample. I will again take a sample from that data, okay, and I will calculate the values. Fine. Now, once I calculate R from this data, this is value number 1. Now, again from this data, I'll take a different sample and calculate the value, which will be value number 2. Okay, now what this probable error is trying to say is the difference between this R and the value of R that I find here will have a little variation. That variation I can represent it using the concept of probable error. Okay, so this probable error is something like a value where I can add it to this R value of 0.5. Okay, 0.5 plus probable error, or 0.5 minus probable error. When I do this calculation, whatever value I get here, okay, that within that value only this new R value will be present. Okay, I hope you will be able to understand with the problems better. But did you get a light idea about what the probable error is? Did you at least understand where we are using the probable error? What's happening with this? Can you hear me? So let's see the definition. Sorry, we finished the definition. Let's see the formula. Then we will go to the problems and understand it better. Fine. So the probable error is calculated through this formula. Now here, PE is nothing but probable error. Now this is given with a number. This is a constant number, 0.6745. Okay, 0.6745 will constant. It is a constant which will be present. Then 1 minus r square. R we will already know, that is your correlation coefficient. Okay. Apart from that, we have divided by square root of n. Now n will be given us in the problem. So n is the number of pair of variables, that is both the variables like x and y, both will be given to us, and r is the correlation coefficient. Okay, so we will have r given in the problem, n given in the problem. You will have to put this formula. This value of 0.6745 remains same always. Okay, so this is your formula for probable error. Now, how do we interpret this probable error values? Suppose we get some value here, okay, for probable error. How do we interpret that? If the value of r is more than 6 times of probable error, okay, if whatever r value that we have, okay, this r value that we usually get, if that is more than 6 times, multiply r into 6. Okay, if it is more than 6 times, it means r is significant. Okay, and again, if the same r value, when you multiply it 6 times, it is less than that. Okay, if r is less than 6 times the probable error, then there is no evidence of correlation, so r is not significant. Now using probable error, this is how we will be concluding if r value is significant or not significant. Okay, so we'll start with the first problem. I think that will make things or the concept much clear. Now in this problem, they have given us the value of r as well as n both. Okay, so value of r is 0.6. R is nothing but correlation coefficient. And n is number of pairs of variables. So we have both the data required to calculate the problem. So here what we will be doing is, we will have to, let's read the question completely first. Find probable error of the coefficient of correlation and determine the limits of population of correlation. So we have to find the probable error, and then as per in the definition where we saw, we have to calculate r plus PE. This is one limit, and r minus PE. This is another limit. Okay, so now let's put the formula for PE. So probable error is equal to 0.6745 into 1 minus r square divided by square root of n. Now let's put all the numbers. 0.6745 into 1 minus r value is 0.6. So 0.6 whole square divided by square root of 64. Now next step, 0.6745 will remain. 0.6 square is 0.36 divided by square root of 64 is 8. Now next step, what we can do is, this calculation you will have to complete. So 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.36 will give you, it's actually 0.64. Okay, it's not 6.64, it is 0.64 divided by 8. So 0.6745 into 0.64 by 8, how much do you get? Just calculate. So 0.64 divided by 8 will again give you 0.08. So final value of probable error. Okay, so the final value of probable error is 0.05 396. So I've got take at least 4 to 5 decimal points always for your safety. Now, once we find the probable error, so we have answered their first question, find probable error of coefficient of correlation. Okay, that is done. Now, second part, we are supposed to determine the limits. Now, how to determine the limits? Just add probable error to the coefficient. So, R plus PE will be your first part of the limit. Okay, and same R you're supposed to subtract the PE. So R minus PE will be your second or the other extreme. So this will be one extreme of the limit and this will be the other extreme of the limit. So R value we already know, which is 0.6 plus probable error which we calculated is 0.5396. Okay, so my first limit which is saying is 0.65396. Okay, this is the first limit that we got. Now going on to the next extreme limit is R minus PE. So R is 0.6, PE, that is probable error, same value you have to consider, 0.05396. So once you subtract this, you get the second and the other extreme limit, 0.54604. Okay, so I have got two limits here. So which means any other value which I calculate from the same data. Now here I already calculated from the data and found the R. Okay, my data consisted of 64 numbers. Fine. Now if I calculate any other number or calculation, or if I find any other R value from the same data, the answer will be between 0.54604 and 0.65396. It has to be between these two numbers only. So that is where I am adding up the error. See, in easy terms to say, we are manufacturing light bulbs, LED bulbs. Okay, if you are manufacturing LED lights, normal bulbs. Now, this normal LED bulbs, I manufacture, let's say 100 units I manufacture. Out of 100, if I see 10 as the defective pieces, okay, if I see 10 as the defective pieces, these are the errors. Okay, so what I do, I make sure adding defective pieces in the next set, I manufacture 110. So I get 100 proper LED lights plus error of another 10. This is something like that. So R is the already calculated coefficient from the data, which will help us to come to a decision or make a decision. Now with that, I am adding the error which might happen on the positive side and on the negative side. If it is an advantage, what is the number? If it is on the negative side, what is the number? Okay, so next time when I am doing any sort of calculation, the numbers has to be, okay, the numbers has to be between these two only. Clear? Did you all understand? Did you all understand what is the probable error now? Concept is clear? Okay, so can we go to the next problem? Such probable errors problems can be asked for 6 marks, but it's not asked too much in your examinations. You may find probable error problems along with coefficient of correlation. It's like calculate the value of R and find out the probable error. So we'll solve one full problem also later. So first we will understand the concept. Okay, now let's go to the next problem. Okay, so the next problem, to study the correlation between weights and heights of students of a school. Okay, so what are the two major, excuse me one second. Yeah, which are the two major factors were required? Weights and heights of students in a school. So let us think weight is X, height is Y. Next, a sample of 100 students is taken from the entire school. Now, school may consist of 500 or 1000 students or more than that. So, out of the whole school, only 100 students were taken as sample, and for them, they had checked weight and height. Now, the sample gave coefficient of correlation as 0.826. So 0.826 means it is very close to +1. So which means this height and weight are highly correlated. Are you able to analyze that R now? Because if R is equal to 0.826, which means according to our bandwidth or according to our analyzation, +1 and -1, okay, which is very nearby +1. So this is high degree of correlation which is present. Okay, so within what limits does it hold good for the entire school? Now understand and read the question. This part of the question is important. Within what limit? Okay, there is some word called limit. Okay, within what limit does it hold good for the entire school? When you see such questions, you will have to understand it is a probable error question and you'll have to solve it. Okay, so let's see what all information is given to us. We have got the information of n is equal to 100, okay, which is given here, sample of 100 students. Then correlation coefficient, that is nothing but r is equal to 0.826. That is also given. Now let's put all these values into the formula. So to find the limits within which the correlation coefficient of entire school falls, probable error has to be computed. See, they have analyzed it because the question does not clearly say what you have to find. It only says limits. So if you want to find limits, it means you have to first find out probable error. Now let's continue. Now probable error formula is 0.6745 into 1 minus r square divided by square root of n. Okay, so this is the value. Now let us put all these numbers here. So 0.6745 is a constant which stays. 1 minus r square is 0.826 whole square, whole divided by square root of 100. Next, continued simplification, 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.826 square, which will give you the value of 0.6823. You're just multiplying this with the same number, again 0.826. Okay, you get 0.6823 whole divided by square root of 100 is 10. Okay, going on further, this 1 minus 0.6823 is calculated and you will get a value of 0.3177. Fine. So now the next value is 0.6745. Okay, 0.6745 into 0.3177 divided by 8 will give you, there is a little mistake here. This is supposed to be 0.039725. Okay, just correct that. Okay, so this value, that is 0.3177 by 8 will give you a value of 0.039725. Okay, now when you multiply this with 0.6745, that is the constant, you will get a value of Okay, this probable error is also some decimal mistakes are there. I'm just correcting that. Please copy down these values. Okay, it's gonna be 0.026786. Okay, or maybe I will use some other. Hold on a second. 0.026786. Okay, that must be the answer, not this, because there are slight calculation mistakes which has happened throughout. Okay, so just take this as the final probable error value. Okay, so once we find the probable error, next we have to find the limits. Now limits, again, how we see the bandwidth here, that is -1 and +1. Similarly, you will have to, one second. Okay, so here again, just hold on. Okay, so here again we'll have to check it from negative side as well as positive side. Okay, in the previous problem, first they took plus and then minus. Now here it is minus and plus. It does mean the same. Okay, so at the end of the day, you have to find one value by subtracting r minus r and probable error, and another value by adding r and probable error. Okay, so the value of r is 0.826. Okay, the value of r is 0.826, that is known, minus, now whatever value of probable error you got here, please take that value, that is this value from whatever you have got has to be considered. Okay, don't take this, there's a slight mistake in these values. Okay, so you're supposed to consider 0.026 and get the probable error. Again, add this value of probable error to 0.826 and get the limit. So therefore, R for entire school, now understand this clearly. Now in entire school, in the whole of school, I took one sample, or let's say sample number 1 as 100 students. Okay, now from this, let's say this entire school has 1000 students. Out of 1000, I only considered 100 students and I did all this calculation which we saw. Suppose if I take another sample of 50 students next. Okay, sample number 2 is 50 students, and if I calculate R, then the value of R should be between these two numbers only. You take another sample, sample number 3 of 35 students, or any more number also is fine, 35 students. Again, you calculate R. The value of R again should be between these two numbers only. So that is why we calculate probable error and we find the limits where the R value cannot go beyond these two limits, whichever is given to us. I hope it is clear to everybody now. Any doubts? Any part you want me to explain it once again? Okay. So the slide corrections, please do it in your notes. While sending this PPT onto the WhatsApp group, I will also correct and send it. Okay. Now, let us go for the next problem. Another problem, this is also a small and easy problem. Okay, thank you. We'll continue. So the next problem, this, if at all they ask, it can be only for 2 marks. Okay, so let's see. Given PE is equal to 0.039. Now, until now, we were calculating the probable error. But if you see now, they have given the probable error, and let's see what are they asking us to calculate. They have also given us R. R is 0.65. That is the correlation coefficient. They are asking us to find the N, that is the number of variables that was present, or what is the sample that we have taken. So let us put the same formula of probable error. Okay, so probable error is equal to 0.6745 into 1 minus R square by square root of N. Then we already know what is the value of P, so we will take that below, 0.039, which is equal to, this constant will remain 0.6745 into 1 minus R value also we know, 0.65. So 0.65 whole square, whole divided by square root of N. Okay, so this is our first step in just putting down the values. Now the next step, what we are going to do is, we will take this constant number, that is 0.6745, this constant, we will take it to the other side. Here it was multiplication, so when you transfer it to the other side, it will become division. So 0.039 divided by 0.6745 is equal to 1 minus 0.65 square. Okay, this is the value of 0.65 square, whole divided by square root of N. Okay, did you all understand step 2? Did you understand this step, what we did here? Okay, so next, now we have calculated this division value, 0.039 divided by 0.6745. So once you divide this, you get this value of 0.05782. Then coming on to the other side, 1 minus 0.4225. Okay, when I calculate this value, I get 0.5775. So I've got two resultant. First, I divided the value here and I got this value. Again, 1 minus 0.4225 gave me 0.5775 divided by square root of N. I keep it as usual. Now, the next step, what we are supposed to do is, I'm just interchanging the places. So I'm going to take the square root of N onto the other side, which was in denominator here. It will go up to the other side here. Okay. And this value of 0.05782, okay, this is going to come down as denominator. I'm just interchanging the places. So square root of N is equal to, this 0.5775 will remain as it is, and this value of 0.5782 is coming down. So I write it here in the denominator. Fine. Now I have one unknown value onto one side and known values onto the other side. Now let us divide this. 0.5775 divided by 0.05782. Okay, this division will give me the answer of 9.99. Fine. So 9.99 is the total value. Now coming down, this 9.99 was for square root of N. Okay. Now what you're supposed to do is this, how to cancel the square root. Okay, I'll just use a different color for you to understand. How to cancel the square root. If you want to cancel the square root, or let's just take this onto the other side. Here, see, one side, if it is square root, okay, and if you take it to the other side after equal to, it will become square. Like how if you have multiplication, it becomes division. Sorry, division. Then if you have addition, it is subtraction. If you have subtraction, it is addition. Okay, similarly, square root on one side will become square on the other side. So I am taking out this square root and to the other side. So it will become 9.99 whole square. Now once I square this 9.99, I get a value of 99.8. Okay. So if you see this value of 99.8 for N, n usually cannot be point. So what you can do is, since it is very, very near to 100, now another 0.2, if you add to this, it becomes 100. So it's very minute difference. So we will round it off and make n as 100. So the total value of n that we were supposed to find is 100. Okay, clear with this problem? Anywhere you have doubt? So they've given us P, they've given us the correlation coefficient, and we found out R. The information given is easy, the simplification is easy, just that you have to know a little technicality part here of how the values are to be, or where the values have to be interchanged, and where you're supposed to calculate which value. Any doubts in the problem? Everybody understood? Okay, can we go to the next problem then? Okay, another simple problem. We will see this. Now, find probable error when the correlation coefficient is 0.75 and the number of pairs of items is 36. Interpret R. Okay, this is very, very important in this problem. We are supposed to interpret the R. Now, we have been interpreting R throughout all the problems, but here interpretation is little different. Okay, with probable error. Now, first we will see correlation coefficient, that is nothing but R. R is equal to 0.75. Next, number of pairs of items, which is nothing but n is equal to 36. So we have got both R value as well as n value. Now let's put that into the probable error formula and go on and calculate the values. So 0.6745 into 1 minus R is 0.75, 0.75 square divided by square root of 36. Next, 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.75 square is 0.5625 divided by square root of 36 is, sorry, just take this out. There is no square root here. Okay. So square root of 36 is 6. Okay, there's quite a lot of mistakes in the textbook. So square root of 36 is 6 directly. Next step, 0.6745 into the value here, 1 minus 0.5625 will give you 0.4375. I'm just subtracting these two values here. So I will get a number of 0.4375 divided by 6. Next, 0.6745 into this, if I divide these two values, I get 0.07292. Now, the final answer of probable error is 0.04918. Now, I have got the probable error value. Now, how do I interpret this? Okay, now we saw in the second slide of probable error where we had to multiply probable error 6 times. Okay, now if you multiply the probable error 6 times, whatever value you get here, if it is more than R, which means R is significant. If it is less than R, which means R is not significant. I'll repeat this. This probable error value, whatever you get, multiply this probable error into 6. Okay, you'll get one value. Now, if this value is more than R, now what is our R? 0.75. If this value is more than 0.75, which means R is significant. If this value of this value is less than 0.75, which means R is not significant. Okay, now let us do that interpretation. Interpretation of R, 6 into PE, that is 6 into 0.04918. Okay, I've multiplied this and I get 0.2951. So 0.2951 is the value I get. Now, is the 0.2951 more than R or less than R? Okay, so if you see the values here, 0.75 is only more. Yes. So what they are trying to say here is, since R, that is 0.75, is greater than 6 PE. So in simple words, R is greater. Okay, R is greater, which means R is significant. If R is lesser, suppose if R was, let's say, 0.12, then R is not significant. Since R is greater than this value of 0.2951, so R is significant. Understood the problem? Want me to repeat it again? Any doubts on this problem? Everybody understood? So the interpretation which is important here is only this: multiply 6 into PE and then this value. Okay, compare this value and the R value. So if R value is greater, R is significant. If R value is lesser, then R is not significant. That's all. Let me not confuse you anymore by repeating and repeating. Okay, so everybody is clear with this. Fine. Okay, so the next problem is a complete problem of calculation of correlation along with probable errors. We will do this problem in tomorrow's class. Okay, I hope all the problems that we did today are clear. A few corrections here and there, please make it in your notes. I will forward the notes later.